Hi, this is Leo, the cat with questions. I'm thinking about this famous story about Jacob wrestling with God. It seems in church people would have had questions about that, but people just sat there and thought, okay, so Jacob wrestled with God. Let's take a closer look. To give some context to the question, let's take a look at what Yeshua said to the woman at the well. The hour is coming, and now is, when true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth. For the Father is seeking such to worship him. God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship in spirit and truth. So then, maybe this physical being, this wrestling Jacob, really isn't our Father. Here's Genesis 32:24-26 in the New King James Version. Then Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the breaking of day. Now when he saw that he did not prevail against him, he touched the socket of his hip, and the socket of Jacob's hip was out of joint as he wrestled with him. And he said, Let me go, for the day breaks. But he said, I will not let you go unless you bless me. Well, here's the same passage in the Old English American Standard Version. Notice that we don't have the capitalization going on here. It just seems like the New King James Version is trying to really push us into saying, yeah, this guy was God. So we have to capitalize all these pronouns. Well, maybe not. Here are some observations. The Hebrew word aish, that is translated man, simply means man. Nothing special is there to deserve capitalization as was done in the New King James Version. This man could not overcome Jacob in wrestling, so he cheats by injuring Jacob's hip. Even with Jacob's hip injured, this man still cannot escape Jacob's grasp. Jacob knows that this man, although someone with a physical body and human appearance, is not merely human, so Jacob demands a blessing. Back to the New King James Version. So he said to him, What is your name? He said, Jacob. And he said, Your name shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel, for you have struggled with God and with men and have prevailed. Now notice the word that's translated God here is actually, as usual, the word Elohim, which literally means powerful ones. Here's what comes next from the New King James Version. Then Jacob asked, saying, Tell me your name, I pray. And he said, Why is it that you ask about my name? And he blessed him there. So Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. Some friends of mine asked the Holy Spirit about this passage. They received the answer that verses 29 and 30 were not part of the original text, but were added later. According to John 1:18, whoever this being was, he could not have been our Father. Here's John 1, verses 16 to 18. Verse 18 says, No one has seen God at any time. The only begotten Son, who is in the bosom of the Father, he has declared him. Here are some questions, and I encourage you to ask these questions yourself of the Holy Spirit or Yeshua or our Father. What kind of being was the cheating wrestler? Did this wrestler act like a representative of our Father? Do you think that Jacob's conception of the being from whom he demanded a blessing was different from our conception of our Father? Why would the translators of the New King James Version be trying so hard to convince us that this physical being was God?